Hey, what's up, guys? It's Joshua Sohn. Today I want to go over how to compose a big percussion piece. Now, whether it's Latin flavored or whether it's more symphonic sounding or taiko drum oriented, I think there's a lot of similarities in a percussion piece. So I will show you my example, which is more Latin influenced, and then I'll give you some tips and some breakdown behind the scenes of that. So here's the track. It's called Songo and the Beast. Okay, cool. So that's the track from start to end, and that was called Songo and the Beast. I call it Songo and the Beast because it uses a famous Cuban rhythm, and it's the rhythm that I was taught when I was a college student and learning the drum set from the university. But yeah, so this is a pattern that I always really liked, and I wanted to always use it for something like this. And so when the opportunity came to compose for the Score Academy and submit this for the track, one of the 5 tracks, Big Percussion, I was really excited to try to get something going here. The Songo pattern is going to be played here in the drum set. That's going on, and then as time goes on, right here, the ride cymbal comes in. Okay. All right. So that's the core. Everything else is centered around that. This is the locomotion, and then everything supports that. So you got a lot of different drums being played. So for instance, here's the beginning of that. Okay. There's some other ones here. Here's some Latin stuff. Okay. Yeah, and then you just this little part crept in, but this is the sound design. Okay. And then what else do we have here? I have some stuff from Relict, which is really cool. It's from Silence of Sounds, a sample library that actually gave away this little gem for free. Okay. What else do they have? Oh, yeah, there's one right here too. Let's hear this, how this sounds. Really cool stuff. Okay. I did mess around with the sounds a little more and tweak that up with different modulators. And then also there's some sound design in the beginning too. That swooshy sound. Okay. Alright, and so that all brings together this nice big sound. Play it again. Alright, yeah, so that's basically the track. As time goes on, because it is Latin flavored, I wanted to include the timbales as a featured item, and the timbale in the beginning isn't really doing much. It's just kind of highlighting little areas, or maybe at the end of a phrase. Okay. But the real magic happens when the section changes and it turns into a samba pattern. So let me find that for you. Good. Okay. So right there, this is a soloistic area. So I actually performed this and then I tweaked it further in the DAW. But here's how that sounds. Good. All right, cool. So moving on, with that is a very heavy beat that drives forward with this drum set. So let's put that soloed. All right, and then you layer that with something else like this. Okay, so already that's fun, and all you need to do is just dress it up a little more with adding, let's see here what the toms do. Alright. Oh, here's some Latin stuff. Okay, yeah, so you hear some triplets happening. And then also I added a synth loop. You can hear the synth loop here. It's from Evolve Mutations. That's kind of fun to do. But as you see, all of that is contrasting the first part where it's just, you know, a little bit different rhythm, and then also different textures such as the synth loop. As you can see, everything just it layers nicely. There's build-ups, and it's a continual build of energy and whatnot. So with that being said, I want to impart with you guys 2 tips, or actually 3 tips. The first tip for making a track like this is to come up with a concept ahead of time. And what I mean by concept is, you know, get the sounds there already, load up everything, and have a direction of what your track will be. So for me, I wanted to create a Latin bass track with percussion, of course, and then on top of that, I wanted it to move and contrast and make you want to dance, you know. So with that, then I also needed big, I was thinking big toms, big taiko stuff. So I ended up selecting drums like that with timpani, with drum set. Not only just one drum set, but 2 or 3 drum sets, and then shakers, bongos, timbales, a lot of the Latin stuff. So that's the first tip, is pick the concept and then go for it. Choose your instruments. And the second tip is related to that. Tip number 2 is going to be layer drums. Layer lots of drums, actually. So if you want it to sound big, not only pick 1 or 2, do 4 or 5 actually, and have them play the exact same rhythm. So for instance, I showed you in the beginning this one right here. So these tracks, they're all doing the same thing, but because they all have different tones and frequencies, that if you start to stack them up accordingly, they start to fill up the space and everything sounds taller, wider, and deeper. With that being said, the last tip is to contrast your sections. So, of course, if it's the same thing over and over for 1 minute, it gets boring. So, even if it's a 1 minute track or 30 seconds, even, think of ways to make every second sound interesting. So, for instance, I have the timbale pattern here. Okay, you hear these little fills and variations within that. So hear that in context. Okay, cool. And then right after that, you hear this attack here in the synths, right? So all of a sudden, one thing happens and then it trades off into another voice. Contrasting is super important, not only in percussion pieces, but really in any track that you make. So that's good. And then when you do change into one section to another, have a transition prepared like this one. On this one, I manually stuttered it. So yeah, all of that helps to drive the next section forward. And then again, it drops down in the energy just for a second. But even with the drop in energy, you're still adding little piece of ear candy or whatever to make it interesting. So adding contrast and really thinking about different sections and how they relate to each other to make it sound exciting is my last tip for the day. Okay, so that's how you can write a big percussion piece. I put big in there because this is actually a piece that I've submitted for the Score Academy that's hosted by Tom Holkenborg. And if I get in, I'll be able to intern at his Hollywood studio. So wish me luck on that. If you like my videos, please subscribe and hit the like button. Also ring the notification bell so you can see more videos like this.